Hello and welcome. Tonight, we have a creepy story about eternal life. As always, these stories are written exclusively for this channel, so if you would like to support these creative efforts, please hit that like button and subscribe. Let's get into it. Unfortunately, my goal to live forever didn't work out as I had planned. Don't get me wrong, I got to live forever. I just had no idea it would be like this. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me go back to the beginning. In 2063, I was an important man, the CEO of an innovative company that took technology out of the Stone Age and made it possible for people to live forever. With some caveats. You didn't get a body. Instead, a 3D image of you lived in a clear ball like an empty snow globe. This image knew everything you did, from old memories to quirks to inside jokes. Essentially, the person in the globe would be you. I grew this company from the ground up, sometimes putting in 18-hour days and all of my mental energy. But the work was so important. I wanted to give children who had lost their parents the opportunity to talk to them again, to gain advice and comfort from their real parents. I had grand images of people being able to ask their ancestors questions, perhaps about hereditary diseases, or more practical information like where they had put the will. Naturally, all of this work took a toll on my home life. If I'm honest, I only took my wife, my current wife, number 5, out to dinner with just the two of us 3 or 4 times in our entire 5-year relationship. Then, 3 weeks before my 65th birthday, I found out that I would only have a few months of life remaining to me. Of course, I opted to upload myself into the ball when the time came, so I spent my final few months transferring the business over to someone else. I told my wife and son that we would have plenty of time to catch up while I lived in the ball. On the day of my upload, I said goodbye to my wife and my 17-year-old son, the child of my first wife. They watched the upload as I laid back on a padded table. Scientists placed electrodes all over my shaved head. My wife stood next to me holding my hand, while my son pretended to pay attention to the ceremony, but his face had the faraway, dreamy look of someone listening to a good story, and I knew he had his hearing aids connected to the internet. In a thick voice, I asked my son, "Don't you want to be here for this moment?" His eyes cleared, and my son answered, "I am here. Plus, when you're uploaded, I can talk to you anytime I want." I brushed my hand over my face, then reached out for my son. He squeezed my hand, but his eyes clouded over as his attention shifted back to whatever he was listening to. I tried again. "I'm sorry I didn't spend as much time with you as I should have. We'll have plenty of time to talk when I'm uploaded." My son frowned and answered, "Yeah, we'll get to know each other then." The scientist asked if I was ready, and I said, "Yes." Then everything turned black. When I wake up again, I assume I'm in the ball. I'm wearing my usual blue slacks, shirt, and light blue tie. I have a white couch to sit on, and I can see my reflection in part of the ball. I appear how I was in my late 40s. I gaze out of the glass in front of me, trying to understand where I am. On the other side of the glass, hordes of children between the ages of 3 and 11 run around. To my left A blue tunnel like that on a playground empties out onto a dull yellow carpet. A whole group of kids about 6 years old is creeping closer to me, headed by a dark-haired woman in her late 20s. Come here, students. This over here is the CEO of LemStart. Do you remember that technology, kids? Maybe some of your grandparents used it? Well, this guy created that company. Do you have any questions for him? One little girl next to me picked a booger and touched my ball, leaving a sticky blur on my screen. Maddie, the woman scolds. This isn't part of the museum where you touch things. No, doesn't anyone have anything they want to ask him? Excuse me, I say, and the woman jumps. Oh, you. Of course you talk. Do you have a few words for the kids? She asks me, bending down to gaze into my ball. No. Can you tell me where I am? I ask, rising up on my toes. You're at the Child's Institute of Science. I'm surprised they didn't prep you. Me too, I say. Can you get me an employee? Sure. She glances around until she spots someone wearing an official shirt. She flags him down. He heads over. Thank you, I say to the woman, as a man around 55, with blonde hair and a ruddy complexion, squats down in front of me. What can I do you for, Mr. Lemming? He asks. Mr. I gaze at his shirt, and spotting his name tag, I say, Carl, and you're a manager. Good. Some error has been made. I'm supposed to be at my son's house. Carl drops his gaze to the floor and squats down lower as he turns his voice to a whisper. Sir, do you know what year it is? I stare at him dumbly. Well, sir, I'm staring at your birth and your death date right here, and it's about 100 years after you've died. I flop to the floor of my small ball. If it's 100 years after my death, it means my son never chose to access my information. He never wanted to spend time together or get to know me. He didn't even yell at me. I push aside these thoughts in order to face Carl. What happened to my company? Did it help people grieve? Kind of, sir. But people struggled with it. The living people felt burdened because a ball isn't the same as having a loved one there. They didn't know what to do with the people long term. And the uploaded people felt neglected and without a sense of purpose. Eventually, people just chose to stop being uploaded. He explains, then continues. I'm sorry, sir. It was a wonderful idea. I think it probably did help some people. And I'm thinking maybe the kids' museum isn't the best spot for you. I can move you to the adult museum if you like. I slump my shoulders and be treated like a relic who failed. I reply and place my head in my hands. I gave my whole life to a company and people didn't even want it. Carl shifts uncomfortably. I wouldn't say you failed exactly. You gave your all to something you believed in. That has to count for something, doesn't it? I look at Carl between my fingers. I don't think so, Carl. Please, just turn me off. As you say, sir. Then everything went black. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this slightly more cerebral horror story, I suggest checking out my video based on a man who received split brain surgery. This is a real surgery that was performed to help ease the effects of epilepsy. It also helped researchers discover some rather spooky stuff about the human brain. You can find this video on the screen now. And once again, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.